Hello, Wikipedians. Happy Magical Monday, and welcome to Magical Spots Wikipedia Podcast. My name is Dawn Black. Today we are going to discuss the Winter Solstice. You can find a companion article to this discussion in the Wikipedia, and I will go ahead and put that link in the show description for you to make it easy. Today's discussion of the winter solstice will be a definition of the winter solstice, sort of cross-cultural, historical exploration of the winter solstice, as well as discussion of more specific to magical folks like us, and some ideas for how to celebrate the winter solstice. Of course, I can only really talk from my point of view, so that's what I will be doing. So let's get started. Without further ado, the winter solstice happens when the Earth's pole reaches its maximum tilt away from the sun. This causes the shortest period of daylight and the longest period of darkness for the year. So you've got your shortest day, your longest night. In the northern hemisphere, this takes place in December. This year it will be December 21st. It's usually right around that time, the 20th, 21st, 22nd. I've seen it as late as the 23rd. This year it's the 21st. In the southern hemisphere, it's in June. This year it's June 21st this year. I guess next year. Now, how much this affects your life really varies based on where you live. If you live near the equator, the solstice isn't going to make much of a difference as far as how long or short your days are. The closer you live to the pole, the larger difference you're going to see. Nearest to the pole, you might not get any light at all. You might just get a little bit of twilight that looks like the sun's going to rise soon, and the sun never rises. And then alternatively at the summer solstice, which in the northern hemisphere is in June and is in December in the southern hemisphere, you'll see the sun will be out all day, and there will be no night near the poles. Most of us live somewhere in between, I think, so we will see a little bit of a difference. Now, most of the Sabbats that witches follow came from European agrarian societies. And most of Europe is looking at some significant solstice observations. We can see that ancient people who built Newgrange and Stonehenge, at least, found the solstice interesting because they arranged their these buildings to line up with sunrise on the day of the solstice. Newgrange, I think, is particularly cool because when the sun rises, it fills up this chamber that's dark the rest of the year. The sun shines right into the chamber. And they stream it. I just found this out. I'm very excited about it. So I'm going to put the link so that you want to watch it, you can stream it. Obviously, not everybody can go to Newgrange. Even if you could travel there, I'm sure space is limited. But yeah, I found out they stream it, so I'm excited about that. But we have, as a culture, a European descended culture, a wealth of winter solstice traditions. The Romans had all kinds of stuff. They had Sol Invictus, they had Saturnalia, the the Germanic people had the Yule festivals, and then there's Albin. Oh my gosh, Albin Arthan. Albin Arthan. In the Celtic areas, of course, Albin Arthan is a modern term for an ancient festival. Many of these were absorbed into the Christmas celebrations. The bringing greenery into the house, lots of bright lights, lots of bright colors. These are all sort of banishing rituals, right, for the cold and the dark. Now, Northern Europe especially would have seen a significant decrease of light this time of year. And they would be suffering hardship at this point. They would have a hard time growing crops. The predators would also be starting to have a more difficult time finding wild game, and they'd be moving in on the livestock. What they would probably have butchered the majority of the livestock around Samhain time, just so that they could have the minimal amount to feed throughout the winter, because you have to store all that too. They wouldn't be getting, if they relied on milk and eggs, they would be getting less of that now, if any at all. They primarily would be eating preserved food, which, may not have been preserved properly. So it can spoil, cause sickness, mold. Rodents and other pests can get into it, again, causing more sickness. You have to heat your home with wood. If your chimney isn't right, you can die of carbon monoxide poisoning and asphyxiation. If you don't have enough heat, you can freeze to death. The wintertime is rough. And many ancient people considered the dark half of the year to belong to spirits, the spirit world. It's when the dead walk, when the fae walk, or, other spirits, maybe demons even, walk around in the dark. People who travel in the dark this time of year might not get to their destination. Maybe they got lost and wandered around in the woods until they froze to death. Maybe they fell into a bog. Maybe they were taken by fairies. Winter's scary when there's no street lights and there's no cars. So these fires and bright colors and candles and greenery, these are sort of banishing things, right? And the music, bells ringing, loud noises, also banishing things. So these festivals are definitely almost cross-culturally extremely common. I almost said universal, but I don't want to say that. I want to say extremely common cross-culturally. So now when we're looking at the witchcraft religions, there's a few different ideas that we come up with. Pagan ideas. Now, if you've got the Maiden Mother Crone, the winter may be the domain of the crone. The crone is sort of the life and death doula, the death midwife the teacher of lessons, were you well prepared? And we can see her in the Kalach, which we're not going to see until February, but another belief is that a new god, a sun god or a god of springtime or rebirth or life, is going to be born or reborn at this time. We've got the Oak King defeating the Holly King. We've got the great God being born at this time to bring light into the world, or overcoming the god of darkness. So this is a turning point, a very important turning point in many cultures, in many cosmologies. And I think that psychologically it's very important too, which is why I think everybody should celebrate the winter solstice, whether you're religious or not, if it affects your the amount of light you're getting, because seasonal affective disorder is no joke, and any reason to party is a good reason to party. So we're going to talk about how to party now. So as a witch, you may be interested in decorating your altar. And I believe that this is a great minimal amount of things. I think you should decorate everything. Decorate your altar. Bring in all of your senses. So we want to think about warmth. We want good warm smells like cinnamon and nutmeg. We want bright colors that remind us of life and rebirth, like green and red. And also, the real important thing about midwinter, about what is scary about the cold and the dark, is that you can lose people, right? So we want to bring in pictures of all those people that we're super thankful are in our lives, and bring in the beloved dead too, because maybe they're walking around tonight. Maybe they want to come visit. So we can put out offerings for them as well. Bells, where I'm thinking about the senses, so you've got your scents, your warm scents, your warm taste, bring in those spices, bring in your sounds. You want bells, music of all kinds. You're going to decorate your altar with lots of bright candles, and put pictures of your very favorite people. Just celebrate them and think about, writing them a letter and telling them how happy you are to have them in your life, or sending them a present. And of course, we have to have our feast. Now, for me, because in my world, it's a morning event, right? When the sun rises. So it's all about breakfast food for me. So I like some pancakes or waffles. I do like an excuse to break out the waffle machine. I have a waffle machine. I break it out like twice a year. So you want to put spiced fruit, seasonal fruit, spiced apples, cranberry sauce on there, or I make apple and cranberry sauce, or some kind of citrus like marmalade. And then you got your spice breads with lots of dried fruit in it, cinnamon bread. Preserved meat would be traditional for this time of year, because that's what your ancestors would have primarily been eating, is your preserved meat. So like bacon and ham, there you go. That's for breakfast. Fruit cake, hot drinks, mulled wine, spiced cider, eggnog, nuts, plain nuts, but you know, you want to put some spice nuts on there, some spices on there. Some spice nuts are really good. And of course, some cookies, not based really heavily spiced, like a gingerbread or ginger snap, or nut based, like your marzipan or your pecan sandies, that I think other people call wedding cakes. I'm not sure if they're the same. They kind of look and taste the same. Um, although I think the wedding cakes are a little sweeter than the pecans. I don't know. I got some at a bakery recently, and I was like, hey, I think these are pecan sandy. Anyway, you want to brightly decorate your cookies, lots of sprinkles, and of course, any preserved, dried, pickled foods, jellies, etc. And of course, again, for me, that's breakfast. But if you want to have a dinner, now my mom likes to do the dinner the night before. So that's going to be ham, root vegetables, roasted, of course, and things like your winter vegetables like Brussels sprouts, apple pies, lots of spice, and all those wonderful seasonal foods. Now, I am interested in your opinion on this. I want to know how you decorate. So do check me out on Facebook at the Wikipedia Chat Facebook group. There's a Wikipedia Twitter. There is a Wikipedia Discord. All those links are going to be in the show notes. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you're going to do for midwinter. And also any questions, criticisms. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. So I'm going to sign off, and I will talk to you next week.